Hello and welcome to episode number 88 of the Perth to Paisley podcast, a podcast previewing mainly the upcoming Scottish Cup final this weekend between Heart of Midlothian and Rangers. As ever, I'm Daniel and I'm joined by Adam. Adam, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm okay. My head's up my arse a wee bit. I'm a little bit nervous, but you know what? That's just what it's like on Cup final week, as we've been accustomed to recently. What's this? Our third final in 4 years. I beg that it's a case the third time lucky. But other than that, I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm very much the same. My hair's a state for people watching YouTube. I'm going to get a haircut after this because we are recording this in the morning of the 19th of May, which in and of itself, a very historic day to do with Hearts and Cup finals.
Happy anniversary, everybody.
Yep, happy anniversary. So this will be going up tonight because, as we said last week, we wanted to record after Rangers' appearance in the Europa League final because, listen, we don't know if it will affect Saturday, but we didn't want to be speaking about everything and then something big happened in the game and it completely knackered everything. So
one of the best ideas I've ever had, can I just say?
Yeah.
Amongst very few, but it's definitely one of the outstanding ones.
It's one of like three, but I'm delighted for you that you managed to have it on air.
Thanks, mate.
So before that, we will speak on the fact that since we last were here, we have had two games. And they were not the best if you're looking at results, which is how football works.
Or performances.
Well, what a laugh the end of the season is for being a Hearts fan, and the split is like you just kind of go, all right, that's it. We're finished now.
Can I just, what's gone wrong fundamentally with our football club that we cannot perform in the final 5 games of any season? Because I think we've got the third most top 6 finishes of everyone. Obviously the top 2 are going to finish there every season, you would expect, and then it's us, and yet our record in said split is trash.
It's
absolutely terrible.
It's
but
really
why?
not great.
Because
is
it a case of like this season's a bit of an anomaly because third was secured, we couldn't move up, we couldn't move down. That's fine. I'm more talking previous seasons. Why is our minds on the beach before the final 5 games, or what's the script there? I don't know.
Because like under Nielsen, both times it's kind of been irrelevant our split performance because both times we couldn't move up or down. Like we knew we had third guaranteed both times. So under Nielsen, it's kind of like, oh well, who really cares? It's fine, doesn't matter. But yeah, under everybody else, it's like, no, we still had stuff to do, but it's still that same mindset.
Like this was the thing, because the last time we won the Scottish, obviously 2012, our last game before that final, we got battered 5-0 at Celtic Park under Sergio, and he'd specifically said we were going to use that as like a practice for the final. I remember Ryan McGowan talking about it.
Yep.
Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just some long-term issue that we haven't been able to... It goes back to the striker thing. If we had a striker that could score 20 a season, maybe they would single-handedly drag us out of these rotten split performances and results, but that's just not been the case.
Yeah, so we travelled to Motherwell, where we got beat 2-1. In what I actually thought, especially the first half, was that I really enjoyed that game. Like, especially the first half was so good because I love these games in the split, in fairness, where there's nothing to play for because I can just appreciate the game. So like when Motherwell were playing well, I was like, this is good. Like I just want to see a good game. So yeah, 2-1 loss there. However,
Rage, and I called that right, can I just say?
Oh yeah, of course. I said 1-1.
I thought you were going to be spot on, but
we saw the positive. The positive of that was that Smith, Devlin, and stuff like that managed to get on, managed to get minutes into their legs, which could prove very crucial.
And Gino scored, so...
Oh yeah, Gino scored a really good goal, actually.
It was a good gool.
But then he was back to his usual.
Yeah, that was about it on the positive front, wasn't it?
Yeah,
returning players and our goal, not a lot else to shout about.
Yeah, I liked how Nielsen after it just went, I'm not bothered. I just wanted minutes into the legs. Fair play, Robbie. Absolutely fair play.
He's just chucked these 5 games into. He's all in the final. 100%.
Yeah,
I don't blame him.
Not at all. And then last weekend, the final game of the domestic league season, as Rangers travelled to Tynecastle, and it was again like probably one of the weirdest games I've ever been to in terms of atmosphere, where it was like I've never cared less about a Hearts Rangers game in my life. That was my main sentiment sitting there. Even celebrating the goal, we obviously got beat 3-1, but Haring scored to open scoring. Normally when you score against Rangers, it's like a proper mental celebration because you're beating Rangers. But it was just kind of like we'd scored against Ross County. It was just like I'd stand up like, yes, well in. And then like, right, okay.
It very much reminded me of a game. I think it was under Craig Levine. And I think we also lost again 3-1 to Rangers. You know when Stephen McLean scored?
Yeah.
He did that kind of get it up you to the crowd.
Yeah.
It had very much that same feel where it's like, this is a bit naff, pointless, meaningless, shite. But like the lack of intensity, I think, was the standout thing for me, because Robbie ultimately named a strong 11 in the Rangers game, which, look, he received a lot of criticism online, and I get that. But I don't know. I don't know if it's my annoyance is the lack of intensity within. Like, surely you'd play the first 11 and be a lack of intensity, or kids and full intensity. We got the latter. We got the former, but I'd probably have preferred the latter.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, as soon as Liam Boyce went down, I was incredibly nervous because I was thinking, why have you done this? Like, literally everybody would have harped on and said, Liam Boyce has looked jaded in recent weeks. He in particular, I mean, you could name, a plethora of Hearts players that do, but he in particular has looked jaded, knackered, could do with the rest. And then he goes and does that. And you're just thinking to yourself, if he's out for the final, that is unforgivable as far as I'm concerned, because we need him to win that.
100%. As soon as you can tell, we're not really analysing the games because no one cares. Like, they're completely irrelevant games. And this weekend,
notes, all off the cuff.
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense.
It's really important what happens this weekend. But to touch on them slightly, for me, as soon as the second half started, you could tell that was 11 guys who were like, I am not getting hurt for this final.
I even think as soon as the game kicked off.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, there wasn't any real point. Even when we scored, it was quite a nice surprise. I don't think anybody foresaw that coming. And I don't think... Like, I'm always one for Hearts getting off to a quick start, but again, wouldn't have wanted that given the 11 that he opted to select for the game. So, bizarre selection. And again, I got into the kind of conversations with people online. It's then when you realise and you're like, well, I can forgive that performance and result so long as they put it right on Saturday. And this is the big thing, because of that same 11 play to their best, which I have absolutely no doubt that everybody will give it everything, then we do stand a chance on Saturday. We have to go into it believing that we've got a chance.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. And I just hope that we give it absolutely everything, and that the players on the park don't leave it with any regrets. That's the biggest thing for me.
Definitely. And the final thing before we go into this preview is, obviously, it was the last game of the season. So Hearts did a lap of honour, as we always do. The players go in and then they come back out with their families and stuff like that. I'll be honest, I was quite disappointed with how many people left before the lap of honour.
It's not really surprising though, is it?
It's not, but that still doesn't, in my opinion, it still doesn't excuse it.
Hearts should have maybe... I was going to say Hearts maybe should have moved that after the Derby win, but
then we've got other games to play.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
And then we've got absolute pelters online for it as well. Like, oh, look at this mob celebrating one Derby win in however long. Yeah. And they're parading the kids and whatever. It's just like, no, we don't.
It makes sense.
Ahead of the semi-final as well.
Yeah.
Like, that was ultimately the biggest game at Tynecastle this season in terms of the feeling, the general sort of euphoria that you got regarding it. A 3-1 defeat to Rangers kids certainly is not.
Yeah, but it's still what we do. Like, they can't.
They're damned if they do, and they're damned if they don't. It was a lose-lose. Totally.
And also, that's not how it works. You don't just go, oh well, the game was bad, so therefore That's what
they
weren't doing a lap of honour for that game. They weren't like, this has been outstanding. The 3-1 loss is exactly what we hope. It was a lap of honour for what has been.
Did Rangers score 3 goals? Peter Haring's strike was a great goal.
Yes, exactly. It was a lap of honour, as we do anyway. Yeah. We've done them the last couple of years when we had fucking Levine and we were finishing 6th and shit like that. Like, it's a traditional thing that we just do because it's like, it's a thank you from the players for, like, to the fans for being in the whole season. And then put on top of that, this is one of the best seasons in our lifetime. And folk were like, well, it finished with a 3-1 loss in a game that means absolutely nothing. Therefore, I'm not going to stay.
Hearts are just some laugh, man. Honestly, like, you just see folk that just are so angry at everything.
It's unbelievable.
Like, Hearts fans are just a raging bunch.
It's insane.
Things are going well, and we still find stuff, myself included, to moan about because that's what I do. But like, some of it is just genuine rage, and I don't know what it's at. Have Hearts rejected some of these as youngsters, and they're looking at some of these numpties and thinking, I could probably do a better job? Or what is it? Why are we all so angry?
I saw Craig Fowler saying it as well, where he was like, he hoped that we had won against Rangers in the league for 1, because it could be quite beneficial to the squad to get confidence. 2, it means 100%. That we get the rhythm. But 3, and he was like, and most importantly, folk can stop moaning about meaningless games that mean absolutely nothing.
It does make you wonder what would have happened had we pulled something out the bag on that Saturday, and everybody was like, oh my God, we've just beat Rangers, let's repeat the feat at Hampden.
Yeah.
It's too intact. Like, look at the 11 that Giovanni Van Bronckhorst selected for that. Really? Come on.
But at the same time, I disagree with the narrative of like, oh, it was like playing the under-10s. That game, they started with a midfield of Scott Arfield, Aaron Ramsey, and Stephen Davis. The squad was worth like 50 million that played. Like, if that's their B team, what the fuck?
I was thinking that even when I was looking at, obviously, them in the Europa last night. I was looking at that first 11 and thinking, there's still players on the bench that could come off and make an impact. The likes of, as you say, Stephen Davis, your Scott Arfields, your Kemar Roofs.
Yeah.
You know, Alfredo Morelos has also been teasing the fans recently with kind of body work in the gym on, I think, is his Instagram story or something like that. And you know that he absolutely loves a goal against us. So this is terrifying. But again, like, when it's a one-off game, there's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Like, we have got a chance to cap off what would be a good season, a great season, into a fantastic season, and one that I would have deemed unthinkable come July, August. So let's just go and do it. So
we will now get any previewing because fuck everyone else. This Saturday, Hearts play Rangers in the Scottish Cup final at Hampden, 3:00 kickoff. Now, before that, Rangers last night played in a European final, which in and of itself is a mental sentence to say. They played.
The fact that Hearts fixtures sandwich said European final as well is an absolute madness.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They played Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League final in Seville. And, right, I don't like to give them credit often in this show. But my dad, before the game, when I asked, what would you like to happen? He said, I would like Rangers to take a goal lead, be pegged back, go to extra time, and lose on penalties by 1 goal.
Oh my goodness gracious me. Did he have money on that?
No, he didn't, and he's raging. He's absolutely
quite rightly
furious.
So. This was the big debate that I had as well. I was like, do we want them to win it and just not give a damn about the Scottish? But equally, they could be, full of confidence, having just lifted a European trophy, for crying out loud. Or do we want them demoralised in the most unimaginable way possible? Where, again, like Graham's scenario there, is that perfect? And again, I think the only one constant that we all wanted was for them to be taken to extra time.
Yeah.
Which again is mental, because if my memory serves me, prior to their Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic, they were taken to extra time by Braga.
Yeah.
and we all know how that turned out. So
the one they played in 35-degree heat.
That is true. That is true. Unless Govan had,
I was going to say, Govan had a nuclear wasteland. Something happened to it.
But this is horrible.
Basically, what we can all agree on is every single Hearts fan, as you said, wanted it to go to extra time.
Yes.
And it did. And they lost
it. We didn't know what else we wanted.
Yeah, I was very much, if it goes to extra time, they can do whatever they want. Then it got to extra time and I was like, I really want them to lose. As soon as it got to extra time, I was like, I want them to get beat.
That extra time period as well was dreadful. It was like the first half.
It was a terrible game.
The only decent section of the game was the second half. And not just because the goals were scored, but because it actually looked like both teams are going to impose themselves upon one another. Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, it was cagey. Yeah. If we ever repeat, I can't deal with caginess. I really can't. No. That would be grim.
I've seen some Hearts fans go, we should aim for penalties because they're rubbish. It's like, no, I could not take penalties again.
Not another penalty shootout of heartbreak.
No, after last time. So
yeah, that would be the best way to win it. But it's not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk at all.
No chance.
Obviously, we don't know how much, if any, that game will play into it. However, it certainly doesn't help Rangers. It's the best case scenario for us that they got taken to extra time and pens. Regardless of if they won or lost, they would have wanted to win that inside 90 minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
So, there's two main talking points for me from the Europa League final that will impact the Scottish Cup final, and it's in terms of two players for Rangers. One of them is the obvious one, and one of them I don't think is as obvious as the other. I'll start with the obvious one first. Calvin Bassey fucking terrifies me.
Yeah, very good. That's worrying. Who won Young Player of the Year in Scotland?
I don't know, but he won Rangers Young Player of the Year.
He should have won the Scottish Young Player of the Year as well.
Was it Jota?
No.
Abada?
Was it not? Oh, maybe Abada.
I think it was Abada, yeah.
But that's terrible. Should have done my research before making this point. But he's been one of Rangers' best players all season. Like every really time I watch him, whether it's at left back, it's centre half, he's an animal, and he just keeps on going. He's like the Duracell bunny, man.
He doesn't look tired.
No, that won't have faced him last night.
Nah.
He looked so scary. Composed. Like, what is he, 2021 or something like
that?
He's
22. Just turned 22.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, no. It's absolutely terrifying, and it scares me. Because obviously, one of the biggest advantages we've had recently is the fact that Sims can hold his weight really well and
be a great
use it. But I don't think you'll be able to use it properly against Bassett. I think obviously we saw that Barisic went off last night, but it was more just, it seemed to be fatigue. So he's probably okay to play. I think if Sims looks at them and goes, right, I'm going to focus on Barisic, because I think he'd win that battle all the time. But as a result, I don't know if Bronckhorst might move Bassey, as you say, into the middle where he has played before, to kind of try and combat that. But at the same time, Goldson could potentially stand up to Sims. I don't know.
I'd fancy Ellis Sims to get the better corner goal.
So would I. So maybe he would move Bassey. I'm not sure. But Bassey was the obvious one, as I said. I feel that the game, as you were saying, the second half was kind of the best period of the game because both sides were starting to try and do something. Really. Yeah. The first half was a lot of Frankfurt getting a lot of chances, but they didn't have a lot of the ball. Rangers didn't really do a lot. However, I felt that Rangers really tailed off in the second half, mainly because, and I feel like this has been a theme for them generally, they brought off Ryan Jack. And as soon as they brought off Ryan Jack, I felt they just completely lost the midfield. Stephen Davis, obviously, in general, did well in terms of his positioning, his passing. He had that chance right at the very end after Kent's miss, where he kind of hit it over the bar. But I felt that when Jack was on, they kind of had a bit better in the midfield. He was not quite man-marking So, but he was sitting on So's toes and kind of marshalling him. And as soon as he got brought off, I felt that it allowed Frankfurt to kind of dominate the game a wee bit more. I would be shocked if Ryan Jack doesn't start, But
player, Ryan Jack.
Yeah, he is. And I kind of feel like he's weirdly underappreciated sometimes. Like, I know the comparison is obviously always going to be him versus McGregor. And McGregor is a better player, in my opinion. But I don't think there's as big a gap as some people act there is.
I think they're two different footballers. I think
they are. They're very different.
Callum McGregor is a tidy footballer.
Yeah.
But in terms of somebody that does their job, might be somewhat limited, Ryan Jack, but there's absolutely no doubt what he gives you. And that's that little bit tenacity, that little bit aggression. I think he's probably overlooked just because of the amount of midfielders that Rangers have at their disposal.
Yeah.
Because again, we've highlighted the fact that, last night they had Arfield, Davis, Aaron Ramsey to bring off the bench.
My point there, was that I think
that trio, that didn't even start. Yeah. If they were to be the trio that started on Saturday, I'd still be fearing.
Yeah, definitely. And the point that I was going to make was Van Bronckhorst seems very eager that when it isn't properly working, when they're not a couple of goals ahead, he likes to take Jack off for Ramsey, Davis, Arfield, someone else to try and mix it up.
Which I don't get.
I don't get either, and I think it will benefit us. If we somehow get to, say it's the 60th minute and it's still 0-0, or it's 1-1 and we're still really in with a shout, I think he'll bring him off, and I think that will only benefit us.
It's as though he's going to gamble, but Ryan Jack is the one that gives the protection in front of the back. Yeah, and I know exactly what you mean. Again, like, he'd be the perfect player to bring off the bench at 1-0 up. But why when leading, you'd bring a Scott Arfield or an Aaron Ramsey in particular off the bench? I don't get that. Last night was weird with Van Bronckhorst. Like, I know he's a great manager, but it told me that Aaron Ramsey can't possibly be fully fit, because what's been apparent is the fact that he doesn't really fancy Stephen Davis domestically.
Yeah.
Yet he turned to Davis first and foremost to bring him off the bench, rather than wait until the 117th minute to bring Aaron Ramsey off the bench.
Yeah.
Which
he clearly only brought Ramsey on to take a penalty.
I knew he was missing. Can I just say? You knew it. Just the way that it's gone.
Well, so I saw people say it was the exact same situation as Rashford, Sancho and Saka. He didn't touch the ball before he had to take his penalty.
But I mean, just everything. Like the fact that he was built up to be, this marquee signing.
Yeah.
Some were saying the biggest since Gascoigne, like all this palaver built up about Aaron Ramsey. It goes one of two ways. He's either a sensational hit, or we've seen, just quite how he's flopped in Scotland. I say this before he bags the winner on Saturday.
He's definitely going to get the winner. I know he is.
Without a doubt. I've put that cushion out there on Twitter already. So, I'm fully prepared for the worst. So hopefully Hearts can surprise us with the best.
Definitely. And we are a Hearts podcast, so let's focus on Hearts. The main talking point probably going into this game is fitness, with so many of our players.
Or lack of.
Yeah, lack of is probably a better term. So off the top of my head, I can think of the people who are either nearly fully fit or in the conversation to be, are they at full fitness, is John Souttar, Craig Halkett, Michael Smith, Cameron Devlin, Andy Halliday, potentially Stephen Kingsley, and Liam Boyce.
Yikes.
So that's at least 6 or 7, however you look at it, starters, all potentially not at full fitness. Now, we know that there was a bounce game.
This isn't a Levine lineup.
Yeah, no, I'm slightly worried.
Just sprung a surprise or two. Oh, God.
On Tuesday, a bounce game happened between the first team and the under-18s. And apparently everybody got through it unscathed. Halkett and Souttar managed to get proper game time. Devlin, Smith did as well, which is great to hear. Halkett, in his press conference, said that there is still some pain there, but he's as close to 100% fitness as he could be at this point.
Of course he's going to say that, though.
Yeah, exactly. Halliday said he's totally fine now, as he's had injections and stuff like that, so he'll be okay. The main one, however, as you alluded to earlier in the podcast, is Liam Boyce. Now, I agree that I think the anger at the Rangers and Motherwell game is a bit ridiculous. It's quite over the top for games that mean nothing, in my opinion. Where I had anger was the fact that we went full strength, because, in my opinion, it was needless. It didn't matter if we won that game 10-0 or lost that game 10-0. It doesn't affect it, purely even if you want to look at the fact that the team that Rangers put out isn't the team that they're going to be playing.
This is the thing, because if we were to rest the first 11, people would moan about a lack of match sharpness, yet we're playing a bounce game in midweek. So surely then that's where your sharpness comes back ahead of this one, no?
Also, it's not like they're taking like 3 weeks off. It would have been one game a week before.
Yeah.
But, as you said, in the opening minute, Liam Boyce went down. He felt a pain in his groin and thought to himself, am I going to play through this? No, it's pointless. So he just went down. He didn't train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as I say, and he didn't feature in the bounce game. As I say, we're recording this on the 19th, so the Thursday. He is apparently going to be doing training today. Obviously, we don't know what kind of training they'll be doing tomorrow. You imagine it's more tactical stuff these, like, kind of next couple of days. And
predominantly shape, you'd have thought, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and Boyce was saying about set pieces. I do not think
your penalty
Boyce will start. I don't think Boyce will start.
Do you not?
I don't think he's going to be fit enough. Which I think means, I think we already go in with like a 1% chance. I think if Boyce doesn't start, then that is it. I don't think we have any chance.
So you're just writing us off?
Yeah, completely.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Everybody tuning in, that's them just turned off.
Yeah, exactly. But my logic is this. I know a lot of people will go, well, Boyce hasn't been good for the last couple of months. To me, that's irrelevant because if Boyce, a lot of people go, Boyce isn't scoring. That's what they'll say. Like, I thought he played very well against Dundee United and he played well against like other teams when he hasn't scored. But people will look to the fact he's not scoring. But for me, I said this on Twitter, he is our most important outfield player because even if he's not scoring, what he does is he's not even really been a striker for much of this season. He's been a 10. And what that has allowed is Sims to create complete space for himself to hold the ball up and he runs off him. It then also allows Barry Mackay to have this free role because Boyce can hold it in the middle and Mackay can just run about after him. And then whoever the other wide player is usually shite anyway. So it doesn't really affect it. But it still gives that freedom. Without Boyce, it means that we're going to have somebody in who isn't as smart a football player, who doesn't know how to make the runs, doesn't know how to make the pass as well as Boyce does in the 10. And I think that's going to kill us.
And ultimately, who isn't that link from midfield to attack?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what, do you think he'll change the shape? Why did I get, like you saying all this, why did I get the impression that he'd go a 3-5-2, play Mackay at the top, and have Sims and Ginnelly up?
Ginnelly, that is what I think he's going to do. And that terrifies me. That absolutely terrifies me.
So are you adamant that that's the only surprise that will spring upon us? Because, there's been a lot of talk about, as you alluded to earlier, defenders coming back into action. Who would be like, are we just going through our teams now?
Right, so we'll do that,
who would be your starting 11 in essence? Right,
if everybody's fit,
Ross Stewart.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just say, sorry, he in the Motherwell game is an absolute disgrace. That is a disgrace. How can we take Livingston's third choice goalkeeper and become Hart's second choice? I'd place a backup goalkeeper over every other position in terms of recruitment this summer. Pathetic.
Yeah,
not interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, that was interesting. But
if everybody's fit, Craig Gordon in goal.
Yes, if everybody's fit, I'd play a 4-2-3-1. I'd play a team that hasn't featured this season once. So strap in for this.
Brilliant, great. Because why would we ditch the shape that's been so good to us throughout the season for possibly our most meaningful match in the entire campaign? Listen, why would we do that?
I'm no in charge.
Daniel McIver, everybody.
Right, I'm no in charge, and there's a reason. But fuck it, this is what I'd play.
Right, go on. I'd love to hear your reasons. Go on.
I'd play a back four of Kingsley, Suter, Halkett, Smith. 2 of Haring and Devlin.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. You're going to stick Atkinson on the right.
A 3 of Atkinson wide right, Mackay wide left, Boyce in the 10 and Sims. But
I knew that was coming.
Purely because I'm like, Atkinson can't... Well, Atkinson every game has got
He's
better.
developing.
It's
He's
so insane.
He's coming along.
He's
coming
so
along.
insane.
He's coming along.
Like, he's just been most weeks you go, that was pretty, like, when we've had bad performances, you go, that was pretty rubbish. Atkinson was good though, and I can't, like, even a couple of months ago, I didn't think I'd ever be saying that. It's insane.
I had faith. There's some that you write off and you're pretty confident that they'll be pish fit. I was adamant he'd get it right eventually, just because of who's in the dugout. I've said it before on here.
Yeah, that's fair. But I still think he's much better going forward currently than he is defensively. And what my logic is having those two on the right is it means Smith does not need to run forward. It's like, Smith, you can just stay defensively. Don't worry.
Mikey Smith chilling. Maybe halfway as high as he gets.
Exactly. And it allows Atkinson to just ping about that half and just run like he always does.
Can I just say, speaking about the players on the right-hand side, Ryan Kent's missing extra time. I hope that haunts him for weeks, months, years.
As long as it haunts him for this weekend, that's okay.
We could really do with that.
However,
it was a shocker. Some say, but he's got to score.
Yeah, he should score there. I don't think that is the team that will play. The team that I think will play is Gordon in goals, Kingsley, Suter, Halkett. But Halkett in the middle of the three, sorry. Not that. Atkinson, Cochrane, Haring, Devlin, Mackay, Sims, Gino.
No Andy Halliday in there?
No, and I wouldn't start him.
Interesting.
That's not I think Andy Halliday shit. That's not what I mean. No, I think Halliday could be quite good to come on if we're winning and break up play.
Nice, okay. That's what I was going to say, because the concern will be regarding Cammy Devlin's fitness.
It's still Cammy Devlin though. He just
I
runs
hear
about.
That. But then, if he was in a better shape for the semi, he'd have probably played longer than the 10 minutes that he was excellent in.
Yeah,
I think I'll just say. But you know what I mean? This is horrible.
What's your team? What would your team
to
be?
Be Robbie right now. I really would.
I know. Because what would you play?
You just God. In terms of we don't know. This is the big thing. We don't know in regards to fitness. But if everybody is fully fit and ready to go, I would go Gordon in goal, Kingsley, Halkett, Suter again. I'm going to stick with Natiaka. A left wing back, I would probably opt for Cochrane. I get the impression that Devlin is not fully fit. So I'm probably going Halliday and Haring.
Okay.
Then I'd have Mackay supporting Sims and Janelle. Because again, concerns regarding boys.
I was
if
going to say,
and boys are both fit.
Yeah, you would put them both in.
But I don't know. And again, I'm petrified, can I just say, of Halkett and Suter.
Same.
Because I know they've obviously both come back into said Rangers game, but how fully fit are they really?
I think Suter's closer than Halkett is to full fitness.
Yes. Yeah.
I would
you'd imagine so. Yeah. But if Halkett's adamant, again, we've talked about this, the knock-on effect. If Halkett's adamant that he can play, that's great. As soon as I see him going down, my mind's just, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because then I'm worried about the knock-on effect it has for us going into Europe, going into the start of next season.
Definitely. I will be honest, though.
This is where the trust is a big thing, between management and coaches and playing staff.
Yep, definitely.
It's petrifying.
If the team that started at the weekend played, I'd be happy with that as well.
What was it? What was the team again?
I'm going to get it up because I can't remember.
Civic and the like.
Hold on. Yes. Mainly because I say that I'd be happy with it. What I mean by that is that to me says, right, it's because they're not ready to go, which I would be like, well, I understand that. Like, I'm not going to be, I don't think that would be a choice from Robbie. I think he would, if he doesn't start Halkett or Suter or either both of them or neither of them, I think that'll be Robbie going, I physically can. It's not that he's went, I don't want to. So the team that started at the weekend was Gordon in goals, Sibic, Kingsley, Cochrane. Fucking hell. Never listen to the BBC and the way they line this up. They've got Barry Mackay playing left wing back. which is not what happened. But Gordon, Civic, Kingsley, Cochrane, Smith, Haring, Devlin, GMS, Barry Mackay, Sims, Boyce.
Right. Okay.
I don't really know what that formation is. I won't lie.
I think it was apparent that neither did we.
Yeah. In fairness, the last 20 minutes, we had 7 defensive players on the pitch, and Toby Civic was playing right wing. So that's why also I don't think we can read in much into what happened on Saturday, because that's not going to be happening. You fucking hope not, that the plan isn't just, Toby, get up on the right wing, son.
I was going to say, do you remember when Andy Halliday was used as a kind of auxiliary left winger earlier on in the season?
He said this, he was like, if he gets used at centre forward on Saturday, it will be a season where he's played every available outfield position. Which he is like, I really want. He was like, I have a feeling I'm not going to be used as centre forward on Saturday. But he was like, I would have found that pretty cool if I'd played every outfield position.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
argue master of none.
Yes, I would argue that. I'd say he's competent in a lot, though. I would say he's not a master of any trade, though. But listen, I watched Halliday's press conference.
Before he scores the winner on Saturday.
But this is what I was going to say, right? I watched all the press conferences that have come out so far, and Halliday's what I think Halliday is our best player to have with the media. He talks so well. I really like listening to him.
I know what you mean.
I really like listening to him, and he was asked very bluntly about his own personal allegiances when it comes to this game.
Because this is, of course, of the utmost importance heading into this match.
Exactly. So this was on Monday. The press conference happened, and he was like, listen, I'm incredibly competitive. He was like, if tonight I went out and played football with my gran, I'd leave a foot in. He was like, it's not going to affect it at all. He's like, I've got too many runners-up medals in this competition. He's like, I might have some family members who won't speak to me, but that's fine because I'll have a Scottish Cup winner's medal in my pocket. That's all I care about.
That's what we want, Andy boy. Come on!
But then, completely unprompted, he then went, I do hope they win on Wednesday, though. It's like, Andy, we know. You didn't need to say that. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
What a bizarre week he's had.
I know.
He better not be demoralised ahead of the weekend. I'll tell you that for free.
Oh, God, I didn't even think of that. Him and Barry Mackay just devastated.
They better be pumped up, ready to go. Yeah, what's John Souttar thinking amongst all of this?
Well, let's speak about that, actually. Because I've seen some Hearts fans say, even if Souttar's fit, we shouldn't play him. Because I've seen people say that from both a positive and a negative thing. The people who are being negative are like, fuck him, he's going to cost us, we hate him, boo. I can understand.
That's not me. Before
no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
Fingers.
I'm not implying that Adam's that. I can actually kind of understand the people who are being positive about it in the sense that they kind of want to protect him as a person. Because imagine if it's 0-0 in the 80th minute and Souttar does what that Frankfurt defender did last night and accidentally slips and allows somebody in. There would be a section of Hearts fans who would be
adamant that he did
it was deliberate. Yeah, it's a complete, like, he meant that. It's a massive conspiracy. And I genuinely would feel bad for him if that happened, because he also wants to win a Scottish Cup.
Of course he does. It's the perfect departing gift for John Souttar.
Exactly.
I've done all I can. Ultimately, I've missed a barrel load of time through injury. We've been relegated and since promoted in that time. I've got the club back into Europe. We've won the Scottish Cup. I'll enjoy the parade. Thanks for everything Hearts have done for me. And thanks for letting me move on. Simple.
Yeah, literally. I am double checking now because what you've just said has kind of reminded me of something. As we are saying, we're recording this at 12:10 now. This is now 12:10. I am slightly terrified because of the rumours that we've heard about Peter Haring. That this final is going
farewell. Yeah, Pedro as well.
I'm slightly worried. I was just double checking because we've heard all the rumours that he is actually going to re-sign. I was just double checking we haven't missed that announcement as we're on the air. Nice. We haven't, which kind of makes me more worried because Listen, I have made it very clear. If you've listened to even one episode of this podcast, that I am a massive Peter Haring fan. I love him. He's one of my favourite Hearts players of all time. If we win on Saturday, he would make it into my best 11 ever.
Wow.
My two midfielders would be two centre mids that start with HAR. That's their names. But
try to think of another funny answer here, but I'm not going to.
No, there's no one else that can fit that mold.
What a man.
If currently there is no news about his contract, we've heard the rumours that apparently he's re-signed, but as we're sat here recording, there's nothing. If he is to depart by giving us a Scottish Cup, I still won't accept it, as I'll be devastated. But as you say, it couldn't be a better way to end.
Hold on a second. John Robertson went out with the Scottish Cup.
Yeah, but John Robertson played for like fucking decades at the club.
No, but this is my point. Like, I'm sure that the vast majority of older Hearts fans are just that made up with a fairy tale that yes, they're gutted to losing Robbo, but he went out in the most perfect way possible.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that for Big Pete.
No, of course I would. No, that's what I'm saying. I would still be gutted he isn't staying. But I was like, if someone was like, pick a way for Haring to leave, it would be that.
I'm thinking even deeper than that. I'm going like Michael Smith.
Well, this is what I wanted to focus on. Michael Smith has been... Oh my God.
I get the feeling that we're going to find, if we do win it, that the winner will be from an unlikely source. There is nobody that I would deem to be a better unlikely source, despite what your betting account
I was about to say,
than Michael Smith. If that man were to score the winner, oh my God, my top would be off. I'd be down to solely my Hearts boxers. Yeah. And that's not a sight that anybody wants to see, but it would be tremendous. Make it happen.
Michael Smith joined us under Ian Cathro. So literally joined us at the worst possible time.
That's Ian Cathro's lasting legacy.
I love Ian Cathro purely for that.
Shit times, but he gave us Michael Smith.
Yeah, so it's worth it. Fuck it. Who cares? I'll take the Dunfermline losses and the Peterhead losses and all that. Right? I'll take that for Michael Smith arriving.
That Dundee game at Dens, my goodness.
Yes, exactly. He then stayed with us when there was rumours he wanted to go back down south because his wife was kind of missing home. Fully justified. He could have left because at that point he was kind of like, he was in his prime. He was like 29. Could have left a couple of years in. He then signs another extension under fucking Levine, where nothing good is happening. He's playing centre half in a semi-final alongside absolute shit.
For centre mid.
Yeah,
fills in like Andy Halliday.
Yeah, exactly. He then gets relegated with us and still sticks around. He's one of the few people that is rightly deemed good enough to stay at the club and help rebuild it.
First goal scorer in our championship winning campaign.
Yes.
My memory serves me.
Yes, my betting account definitely remembers it.
There you go.
A key component to us. Often, how many times over the last 4 or 5 years would you go, that was shite, we were terrible, we're fucked here, next week what's going to happen? And then you would always finish off with, Michael Smith was good. Like
7 out of 10. Yeah.
Mr. Consistency. For years we were like, imagine if we could get another Michael Smith on the left. And then we got Stephen Kingsley. Like, we literally did it. And then, obviously, this season, he signed his year extension. He started the season so well again. Then he got his injury, which he gave a really, like, sobering interview this past week, where he was like, he was at a trampoline park with his kid, and he was sat on the bench watching his son, like, go mental on a trampoline. He stood up and nearly collapsed and thought he was going to have to end his career because of the pain in his back. His back, not his back in terms of his physical back, he is physically back into the team. And there is nobody I want to see lift the cup more than him. More than Nielsen, more than Boyce, more than Haring, more than Gordon, more than Halkett.
Thanks for persisting with us.
It would be, because then he would become a legend, which he deserves. Yeah, he deserves it so much. And I'm not being funny, right? We could win the cup, but if Smith doesn't get on, I will be raging. will be absolutely livid. Because would he get a medal?
I think he does if he's amongst the subs.
But folk wouldn't remember him as part of it, and folk would be like, "Oh well, is he really part of that current team?" Fuck off. Yes, if we win, it doesn't matter if Smith played no minutes in the final or played every minute in the final. He is a Scottish Cup winner with us.
I know.
I need it to happen.
I know, because you wouldn't argue. This is where the whole like starting 11 and subs thing's stupid. Would you take the Scottish Cup winner tag away from Gary Locke? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Away from David Templeton? Probably not. Michael Smith, if he doesn't feature, again, I wouldn't. If he's played in previous rounds, that should go towards it.
Yep, definitely.
But that's the SFA and the Scottish Cup for you.
I need it for him. We should be funding his emotional support and therapy after what he's been through with this fucking club. Because it very much feels like one of us there. Like, we've all had to sit through it, and loads of folk have left. He's still there.
He's not even raised a Hearts fan, the poor bastard.
Exactly. And now we are officially the club he has played for most in his career.
I was going to say something there. Like the last match against Rangers at Hampden, that dross that he was surrounded with, to go from that to hopefully this, and ultimately us doing the deed on Saturday, is fairy tale stuff.
I want it so badly. Obviously, there's the story of like Gordon, who came through our academy, Hearts fan, won the cup in 2006, left to have a glittering career that could have been so much better if it wasn't for horrific injuries. Is deemed not good enough at Celtic, comes back, wins Player of the Year in the league, wins like in-house Players Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year, is the captain to then win it again. I get that that's a story. Also, Nielsen joining an elite class of people to win the cup as both a player and a manager.
I'm going to start greeting. Please don't. if we do this on Saturday, I will be an emotional wreck.
There's so many permutations, but I really like the almost human aspect of the Smith story, where he was just surrounded by shit for so many fucking years. Like, as you say, he had no reason to stick with us in terms of club loyalty or anything, but he did. And now we're here. He's featured in 2 cup finals where we didn't get the job done. And he could do it. I will be, if we win it and Smith is on the pitch, I'll be crying for him. Like, I just want him to hold it. But we're not going to win.
Don't say that.
I want a score prediction now.
May 1998, Hearts 2, Rangers 1. May 2022, Hearts 2, Rangers 1.
Goal scorers?
Again, I feel like it's going to be somebody really unlikely. Be amazing if it's Sims again. And just a random. Should I just stick with Sims and Kingsley?
Oh, a repeat. A complete repeat of the semi-final.
I think I'm going to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going 3-0 Rangers.
Don't say that.
In fairness, it's worked every time so far.
What, a Morelos hat-trick?
Well,
make sure he doesn't feature.
Yeah, right. We're going to win. We're going to lose 3-0 and Morelos is going to score a hat-trick. So therefore, I'll see you all in the parade on Sunday. Can't wait. But yeah, listen.
And you can go up and give your abuse in person to McIver and say, exactly. You were wrong.
Exactly. I will welcome it. Welcome every part of it. But yeah.
Meanwhile, you'll be crying looking at Michael Smith holding that aloft on top of the bus.
Exactly. I don't think for us to win, they need to have a terrible game. We need to have a perfect game. And we need to get lucky. We could play a perfect game. They could play terrible.
But
if we don't get lucky,
that bit of luck regardless.
Yeah, if we don't get lucky, that's it.
But again, like
Willie Collins, the ref.
We don't know. We don't know.
Somebody's getting sent off. We know that. We know somebody's getting sent off.
You're adamant somebody's getting sent off.
Yeah, Willie Collins, the ref. Somebody's getting sent off.
Imagine if it's John Suter. Oh my goodness!
See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean.
They will be out to play. Or if it's Andy Halliday,
if it's one of the two, that'll be it. I don't know. Right. Nick Walsh is the fourth official, so he'll have some fucking say in the game somehow. He'll enact VAR. It'll come out like a wrestling retitle. It'll just rise up, and it turns out this is actually the first game. And Nick Walsh will go, I'm in charge yet.
The lights at Hampden Hall get rally go dark. Exactly. And he'll just emerge and wander out into the centre circle, and they'll all just come on.
Yeah.
Bam! There
exactly. I don't know how the darkness would work considering it's at 3:00 on a Saturday in May.
But I don't think of that. But they'll find a way.
Yeah, they'll make a roof.
Hey, to be fair, it's Glasgow and it's been studding through the West all week. So
it's meant to be chucking it.
Yeah, guaranteed.
I saw other people say that. It was like the last two cup finals we've been in and lost. It was quite nice days. But this day it's meant to be chucking it. So
why does everybody do this? I've been convinced for as long as I've been alive that I've never seen Hibs win at Tynecastle when it's been nice weather. That is the sort of stupid shit that only a football fan can think of.
Yeah. I did see other people go the reverse and say we've only won the cup in our lifetimes in nice weather.
Jesus.
So if it's raining, it does not.
I said blame us.
Yeah, again, like it's not a thing.
It's the same. Like I've mentioned it previously about Scotland at the World Cup. The last time we were there was '98 after we'd won the Scottish against Rangers in the final.
After Rangers had beat Celtic and Dundee United to get there. Dundee to get there.
All this like everybody kids on like they're a poet and they just look for like all these romanticisms and oh no.
Right. Well, we've said everything we can possibly say ahead of Saturday. We don't know what's going to happen. We can just only hope that it goes well. The odds are very much stacked in our favour against us, but we'll just need to see. Do you have any final closing words before we do the outro?
Get stuck in, leave no regrets, do us proud, bring it home.
I couldn't have said it better myself. We hope you have enjoyed listening to this preview of the Scottish Cup final. You can get us on all the social media at Perth to Paisley. You can also fire us an email, perthtopaisley@gmail.com. If you have enjoyed this and you're watching it on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. It massively helps us. If you're just listening to this via the audio version, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. That massively helps us as well. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can get lots of tear emojis come full time on Saturday at Adam T.
Regardless of which
way it goes. What about yourself, mate?
I am at dmaciver22. We'll be back next week, probably depending on the result, earlier or later than usual, to discuss all the fallout.
Early. We'll either address that or we'll be basking in happiness.
Or it'll be late because you were here for us for 5 days as we don't come back to it.
That's a great point. I don't plan on going home for a week.
Yeah, exactly. But whenever it happens, the next episode will be dissecting the Scottish Cup final that takes place this Saturday. But until then, we'll see you next time. Come on. Goodbye.